changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration. It's Wow Wednesday, and I'm going to share a story today about a miracle dog that never stopped surprising her owners. You know we love dogs at Chicken Soup for the Soul, and we publish books about dogs every year and a half or so because we never run out of great stories for those books. This story comes to us from Chicken Soup for the Soul. I can't believe my dog did that. And the story is called A Star Named Lucy. And that's just what Lucy was. She was quite a star. Her lucky owner, Christine Trollinger, tells us that she first met the dog when she and her husband were visiting a family that was moving and couldn't take their dog with them. Christine and her husband had gone to see the family's little Yorkshire Terrier. But when they got there, that dog had already been adopted. But then the family said, well, we do have this other dog. It's a larger dog, a Labrador mix, and it actually had belonged to their daughter. That family had raised that Labrador mix from her puppy days, but then they had given her to their daughter, who lived on a farm 50 miles away. But that daughter had an awful husband who got drunk one day and actually attacked his wife and baby with a knife. So this miracle dog, Lucy, had jumped in to save their daughter, and the dog took the knife wound to herself. The daughter had run out with her baby and escaped, and the poor dog was left to fend for herself. So this brave, wounded dog escaped too. And over the next few weeks, she managed to get almost all the way back to her original home, 50 miles away, the home where she had been raised as a puppy. She almost made it, but she collapsed at a gas station just a few blocks away. Now, Christine was shocked when she heard the story because this was an astounding coincidence. Christine's husband had come home from work one evening very upset because he had been at a gas station where a starved and injured black lab mix had shown up and collapsed. He watched the dog get to the gas station and collapse. And he had tried to help the dog, but she was so frightened that she wouldn't let anyone near her. And then as Christine's husband was standing there at the gas station trying to figure out what to do, someone else came along and said, oh, I recognize that dog, and I know the dog's owners, and I will get in touch with them. So he left, knowing that the dog was going to be saved. And now here they were being offered the dog who he had tried to help at the gas station. And he had been worried about that dog ever since. So this was an opportunity to act on his original impulse and save this dog, Lucy. She needed a lot of care, but Christine and her husband were up for it because they just felt that this dog was meant to be theirs. So Lucy regained her health slowly, but for the first few months they had her, they actually thought that maybe something had happened to her voice box while she was being mistreated because she never made a sound. And then one day, when a little kid ran in front of her on her path and she was surprised, she barked and then she cringed, which is really sad. She was afraid even of this little child because this poor dog was still expecting a beating. It would take a long time for her to overcome that fear. But after that, Lucy resumed barking like a normal dog. And within days, she used that bark to protect her new family. One night, she went crazy, barking and growling, running to their front door, running to the windows. And they turned on the lights and they calmed her down. And the next day, they learned that a burglar had broken into 2 other houses on their block that night. So undoubtedly, Lucy, who they had rescued them by scaring away this burglar from their house. They had her for another 6 years, and then she began to show signs of kidney failure, and this was a result of the abuse that she had suffered. But she managed to do one more heroic thing for her new family. One day she started jumping up and licking Christine's husband's neck. She kept whining and barking when she did this too. And finally, Christine's husband admitted to her that he had a sore in his mouth and his neck hurt. So Christine sent him off to the dentist, and it turned out that he had oral cancer. Lucy lived another year after that, and she got to see her master have life-saving surgery, which was life-saving because of the early warning she had given him. So it was a meant-to-be relationship. between the Trollingers and Lucy. And like most of the stories that we see about dogs being rescued, it's hard to say who really rescued whom. The next time we get together, I'm going to share a story with you that gave me a whole new understanding of how to handle those times when you're doing the best you can, but it doesn't seem to be quite enough. I'm Amy Newmark. Thanks for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. If you'd like to learn more about the book I mentioned, Chicken Soup for the Soul, I Can't Believe My Dog Did That, please go to our website, chickensoup.com.